Hello fellow booktubers, my name is Lauren and you're watching Dreams Books Courage. Today I'm going to be doing a tag. I feel like I have not done a tag in quite a while, so I felt like now would be a great time to do one. And I've been seeing the intimidating TBR tag floating around booktube for a while, so I decided why not give it a shot. This tag was originally created by Lindsay Ray and I love her videos, but unfortunately she has stopped making videos and has put all of her YouTube videos on private, so unfortunately I cannot link you to the original video. I currently have 69 books that I have not yet read, and I want to get that down to at least like 50, around there, maybe a little bit less than that. So I'm really going to have to work hard on that. I really want to get it down by 2017. So I guess I should go ahead and start talking about these books before it already becomes 2017. Right before my eyes. So the first question is, what book have you been unable to finish? And it took me a while to figure this one out because I very rarely DNF any book. But the one book that I have DNF'd and have still not managed to complete is Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer, which is the fourth and final book of the Twilight saga. And I'm sure you guys all know about this book and all about Twilight, and you don't, and you've just been living under a rock. I definitely commend you for being able to not know about what Twilight is about. But it's about a girl and she falls in love with a vampire, but there's a love triangle with a werewolf involved, so that's my brief synopsis of what this series is about. I don't know why, but I just quit reading this for some reason. I read like the first three books all in order, and then I got to this one and I got like a third of the way through, and then I was just like, nope, I don't want to read this, so I stopped reading it. And I still haven't even seen this movie, so I have no idea what happens. I quite enjoyed the series at the time that I started reading it, but I just kind of didn't really like this one as much. I guess maybe that's the point at which I realized that this series is a little bit off to me, and maybe even a little bit creepy. But I do want to finish this series out, and so I do need to read this one. This novel is 754 pages long, so it is quite a chunk for one thing. Although it's not the longest book I've read, it's definitely way up there. So we'll see if I manage to finish this by 2017, but I'm definitely not sure on this one. Question 2 is, what book have you yet to read because you just haven't had the time? And for this one, I'm going to go with The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, and I just haven't had the time to read this because it is quite a chunk. This one is 639 pages long, so yes, it is again quite long. Sometimes I feel like long books like this could possibly put me in a reading slump, so I just get really scared to read them, and so I just put them off as long as possible. But this is J.K. Rowling we're talking about, so I should have read this by now, and I haven't, and I'm sad that I haven't. One of my friends really enjoyed this, so I am looking forward to it in that way, and I feel like HBO, or maybe it was BBC, I'm not sure, but some network made a series about this, I'm pretty sure, so I want to be able to watch that too. So I just need to read this, and this all occurs in a little towns, and I always find little towns interesting since I grew up in one myself, and this is all about the politics of this little town, and there are definitely a lot of politics when you live in such a small place. I'm pretty sure that someone passed away, and so this is all about like who gets what and stuff like that. But I really want to pick it up soon. Maybe I should just get an audiobook and read it that way. I'm not sure. If you've read this though, definitely tell me what you think about it and just urge me to pick this one up because I really want to. Plus it's J.K. Rowling, and I've never heard anything bad about J.K. Rowling, so. And obviously I've read all the Harry Potter books and I love those, so it's about time that I pick up something else by her. And question 3 is, what book have you yet to read because it's a sequel? And again, this question was kind of hard for me to answer because a lot of times I just have series on my TBR shelf because I usually marathon series if I have all of it. But the one series that I have started but I have not yet read its sequel is Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And I really enjoyed Volume 1 of this graphic novel series. It's really great. The series is kind of hard to explain, but the first volume kind of reminds me of Romeo and Juliet because there are these two lovers, one's from the planet and one's from the moon, and these two races absolutely hate each other, and these two people have a child, and so they're just kind of racing around the universe trying to find a safe place to raise their baby. And obviously a lot of other things happen. The writing style is great. I'm really enjoying the story so far. The art style is also really great. I love that as well. But I just haven't continued this on, although I've had this for quite a while now. And I think that's because there are currently 6 volumes out. And as I said before, I really enjoy marathoning a series. And I feel like if I just get into this one, maybe I won't remember parts. So I feel like I need to read just all 6 volumes in one go within a month or something like that in order to like fully be immersed into the series and really understand completely all of what's going on, because I've heard quite a few people say that they started volume 6 and they didn't like it as much because they just haven't read volume 5 and the other volumes in quite a while. So I feel like that's why I haven't picked this one up, because it is quite a small read and it wouldn't take me very much time at all to get into. But I just feel like maybe I just need to get the entire series and then just marathon that. I'm just not sure yet. I might just pick this up tomorrow. Who knows, but I definitely do need to pick this one up soon because this graphic novel series is really great. Question 4 is, what book have you yet to read because it's brand new? And for this question, it's a little bit harder for me to answer because I have not been buying very many books. And the one book that I have bought within this month is just one that I've already read, so it's obviously not on my TBR anymore. But then I remembered that my brother did give me a book to borrow, and that book is Lost Stars by Claudia Gray, which takes place within the Star Wars universe. And so I haven't picked this one up because I just haven't had that much time to read it yet. But I am planning to pick this one up soon and give it back to my brother, of course. This one is about best friends who grew up together, but then they end up on opposite sides of the Force. One is for the rebellion and one is for the Empire. And so I assume that this book is just all about them being on opposite sides and still wanting to be best friends, but they obviously have this huge problem of being on opposite sides of the Force. But I am excited about this. I don't think I've ever read anything outside of the episodes, and this is canon, so I'm interested to see what part of the universe and like what all this one is about, because I love Star Wars, so I definitely feel like getting into this one quite soon. Maybe I'll just marathon all the movies too, because why not? Star Wars is just so great. But hopefully this won't be intimidating me on my TBR for long. And question number 5 is, what book have you yet to read because you read a book by the same author and didn't enjoy it? And the book that I have for that question is the Here and Now by Anne Brashears, who wrote the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. And that's 5 books, and I've only read about 3 of them, and they were pretty good reads, but they were so dramatic that I just kind of wanted to stop. It was just kind of being unrealistic by that point, and there's just too much drama, and I don't like drama that much anyways. So I basically just stopped with that series, and I just never continued it. But I just picked this one up on a whim because it has Anne Brashears' signature in it. So obviously if I see a signed book, I'm gonna have to pick it up anyways. And this also seems pretty interesting because I think it happens in like alternate universes and stuff like that. I'm not completely sure, but this seems really interesting and it's quite a short read. But I just haven't picked it up because, I don't know, I just feel like lingering feelings towards Anne Brashears after the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series or something like that. And I've had this one for quite a while. It's a beautiful cover. I really haven't heard anyone else talk about this, but it seems really interesting and has an interesting premise, and see how Anne Brashears has developed as an author outside of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. And question number 6 is, what book have you yet to read because you're just not in the mood for it? And for this question, I have Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, which is edited by April Genevieve Tucholk, but features a lot of different authors because this is just an anthology of like horror stories, I'm pretty sure. And so I actually love reading about horror, although I rarely do it because I don't really see very many people talking about it, so I just don't know where to start with it. And also because I especially love horror during the month of October around Halloween, because I just love to get immersed in the horror side of Halloween during October, so I usually just keep reads like this for that month. Although I was unable to read this last October, I'm saving it up for this October. So although I could definitely get into the mood to read this very, very easily, I just want to wait it out and wait until October, but I'm definitely excited about getting into this, and I hope it really does scare me or something because I love being scared, although it seems to not happen that often, especially within stories. But I definitely have high hopes for this, and I'm so ready to get into the mood for reading it. Question number 7 is, what book have you yet to read because it's humongous? And for this question, I have The Divine Comedy by Dante. And just look how big this book is. This book is huge. It might not look that big on camera, but it's quite a big book. It's 693 pages, and I'm pretty sure this entire thing is written in the form of poetry, in the form of epic poetry, so I am definitely very, very intimidated by this novel. And also because it's Dante, and a lot of times I feel like we're intimidated by classics. I'm personally usually not that intimidated by classics. I really love reading them, actually. But this one is another story because it's told in poetry, it's huge, and I'm just so intimidated by it. And also I'm pretty sure it's like Old English or something, so it'll be very hard to get through anyways. but it just seems so interesting. I don't really know exactly what it's about, but as you see on the cover, it has Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso, and so that's basically hell, purgatory, and heaven. And so I'm just really looking forward to seeing Dante's take on those 3 realms of the unknown. And obviously this is a classic, so I just wanted to pick it up anyways. Plus it was on sale on barnesandnoble.com, so I just really wanted it because this cover is so beautiful. And I've had this book for, it seems like forever. I feel like I've had it at least 2 years. I need to get to it, but it's huge, and there are just so many things about it that I'm just like, this is going to put me in a reading slump. Although I could just read it by the 3 sections and like take a break in the meantime. It just seems so huge, and I'm afraid that I just won't be able to get into it. I just don't know. If you guys have read this or any part of it at all, definitely tell me what you think of it, and hopefully you really like it, and hopefully you can push me to read it, because I need to and I really want to get to it, but I just need you guys to help me out and help me want to read this one. Question number 8 is, what book have you yet to read because it was a cover buy that turned out to have poor reviews? And for that question, I have Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara, and this cover is absolutely gorgeous to me. I love the ombre effects of the sky and just the colors in general, and I love this typography. And it also sounds like it has such an interesting premise. But up here we have a quote from Stephen Chbosky, who is the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And obviously that makes this book just sound even better, and he's actually her mentor, so that's really great as well. But the downside to that is that a lot of people are comparing this to The Perks of Being a Wallflower and saying that this is a lot like that, except that it's not as good as Perks. So I'm just kind of hesitant to read it on that note. But I haven't read Perks, although I've seen the movie of it. So I'm just not sure if even just seeing the movie will make me have different feelings towards this novel. I just don't know at this point. I want this to be a really great read because it sounds really interesting and it's beautiful. It's about a girl who's given an assignment in English class to write a letter to a dead person, and then she just starts writing a bunch of letters to a bunch of people who have passed away, including her sister who passed away recently. So it sounds really interesting. I just hope that I can put those things aside about Perks and just read this for what it is. So I am still looking forward to getting into this, although the reviews on it kind of intimidate me. And question 9 is, what is the most intimidating book in your TBR pile? So I feel like this should refer back to the books I've already talked about anyways, but for this question especially, I would have to go with The Divine Comedy by Dante for all the reasons that I mentioned previously, although I still want to read this. I'm just so nervous about it. Even thinking about it just makes me nervous. So I just don't know yet, but I will be reading this eventually. And the final question is question number 10, who do you tag? And I'm going to be tagging Sandy Reads a Lot. I'm pretty sure she hasn't done this video, so I hope you have a lot of fun doing this tag, Sandy. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed any of the books that I talked about today, I would love to hear your thoughts down below, and hopefully that'll push me to read these books as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and now I'm gonna go get back to reading.